Captain Jiho Park stood on the bridge of his warship and looked at the stars. The Eternal Dominion was one of the biggest ships in the Galactic Council's fleet. For 3,000 years, ships like his had kept peace in the galaxy. But it was not a kind peace. The peace came from fear. When any world learned to travel between stars, the Council found them. The Council's ships would arrive and give them a choice: join the Council as servants or die. Most worlds chose to live as slaves rather than fight and lose everything. Jiho had done this many times before. He would arrive at a new world with his 12 ships. The people there would see his weapons and surrender. It was always the same. Today felt different though, Captain, said Navigator Mina Choi from her station. We are getting strange readings from the Outer Rim. Mina was young but skilled. She had joined Jiho's crew 2 years ago. Her job was to find new worlds that had learned to travel in space. Usually these worlds sent out radio signals that were easy to detect. This time was different. What kind of readings? Jiho asked. Energy patterns we have never seen before. They are coming from a system we have no records of. The locals call it Sol. Jiho walked to her station and looked at the data. The energy readings were unlike anything in their databases. Most new worlds used simple engines that burned fuel or basic nuclear power. These readings showed something much more advanced. How advanced are they? He asked. Sir, I think they might have better technology than us. The bridge went quiet. In 3,000 years, the Council had never found a world with better technology. They always had the advantage. That was how they stayed in power. Tactical Officer Dae Kim looked up from his weapons console. Captain, should I prepare the fleet for battle? Not yet, Jiho said. First, we need to report this to Supreme Admiral Wonho. Jiho sent the data to the Council's main base. Within hours, he got a reply from Supreme Admiral Wonho Lee himself. The message was short and clear. Take your fleet to this Sol system. Follow standard procedure. Make them surrender or destroy them. The Council expects this to be finished quickly. Jiho had served under Wonho for 15 years. The Supreme Admiral was not a man who worried about small problems. If Wonho thought this would be quick and easy, then maybe Mina was wrong about their technology. The Eternal Dominion and 11 other ships jumped to faster-than-light travel. The journey to Sol took 3 days. When they arrived, Jiho could not believe what he saw. The system had 1 star and 9 planets. The third planet from the star was blue and green with white clouds. It looked beautiful and full of life. But something was wrong. Jiho's sensors could not detect any cities, ships, or signs of civilization. Mina, scan the entire system. Where are the people? Sir, I am detecting some structures on the third planet, but very few. There should be billions of people here if they have space travel technology. Dae Kim checked his weapon systems. Captain, I am not detecting any defensive platforms or military ships. This does not make sense. Jiho had conquered 43 worlds in his career. Every world had tried to defend itself in some way. They built weapons, hid their people, or begged for mercy. This world seemed empty. Send the standard message, Jiho ordered. The message was always the same. It was broadcast in all known languages and contained simple pictures to make sure any intelligent species could understand it. The message said that the Galactic Council now controlled this system. All people must surrender immediately or face destruction. Jiho expected panic, fear, or desperate attempts to negotiate. Instead, he got silence for 6 hours. Then a single message came back. It was in perfect Council standard language. You have 36 hours to leave this system. Take your ships and go back where you came from. This is your only warning. We will not ask again. The voice was calm and female. She spoke with confidence as if she was not afraid of 12 warships. Jiho had heard fear in the voices of emperors and kings when his fleet arrived. This woman sounded like she was giving directions to a lost child. Did she just threaten us? Dae Kim asked. Sir, Mina said, I am detecting a new energy signature. Something just appeared 2,000 kilometers off our port side. On screen, Jiho ordered. What he saw made his blood turn cold. A ship had appeared out of nowhere. It was sleek and dark, about half the size of his smallest destroyer. But there was something wrong with the way it moved. It did not travel through space like normal ships. It seemed to slide between dimensions, appearing and disappearing like a ghost. The communication system activated again. The same calm female voice spoke. I am Admiral Soman Han of the United Human Space Service. You are in violation of human space. You have 35 hours and 54 minutes to withdraw. We strongly suggest you use this time wisely. Human? Jiho whispered. He had never heard of humans before. They were not in any council database. Admiral Han, Jiho said into his communicator. I am Captain Jiho Park of the Galactic Council Fleet. This system now belongs to the Council. You will surrender immediately. There was a long pause. When Admiral Han spoke again, Jiho could hear something that made him nervous. She was laughing. Captain Park, your council has been murdering civilizations for 3,000 years. Did you really think nobody was keeping score? The human ship moved closer. Up close, Jiho could see that its hull was covered in strange symbols. They looked like they came from dozens of different worlds. You have 35 hours and 50 minutes, Admiral Han said. I suggest you spend that time thinking about all the worlds you have destroyed. Think about all the people you have killed. Think about whether you want to be remembered as the captain who started a war with humanity, or the one who was smart enough to leave. The transmission ended. The human ship disappeared again, but Jiho knew it was still there, watching and waiting. Jiho looked around his bridge. His crew was scared. They had seen fear in others for so long that they had forgotten what it felt like. Now they remembered. Sir, Mina whispered, what do we do? Jiho stared at the empty space where the human ship had been. For the first time in his career, he was not sure he was going to win. Jiho Park did not sleep for the next 20 hours. He walked around his ship, checking systems and talking to his crew. Everyone was nervous. The human ship had not reappeared, but they all knew it was out there somewhere. Captain, Dae Kim said when Jiho returned to the bridge. I have been thinking about what that human said, about keeping score. What did she mean? I do not know, Jiho answered. But I do not like it. Mina looked up from her station. Sir, I have been scanning the system more carefully. I found something strange. What now? There are structures on several planets that I missed before. They are very well hidden. And sir, I think some of them are not human-built. What do you mean? Mina showed him the data on her screen. These energy patterns match technology from worlds we conquered in the past. The Vegan crystal ships from 200 years ago. The Rigelian phase platforms from 50 years ago. Sir, I think the humans have been collecting our enemies. Jiho felt a cold fear in his stomach. If the humans had been gathering survivors from destroyed worlds, if they had been learning from each defeat the Council had caused, then this was not just first contact. This was revenge. Captain, the communication officer called out. We are receiving a priority message from Supreme Admiral Wonho. The hologram of Supreme Admiral Wonho Lee appeared on the bridge. He was an old man with gray hair and cold eyes. He had commanded the Council fleet for 30 years and had never lost a battle. Captain Park, what is your status? Why have you not completed your mission? Sir, the humans are more advanced than we expected. They have technology we do not understand. I recommend we request additional ships before engaging. Wonho's eyes became even colder. Captain, you have 12 ships against one small vessel. Are you telling me you are afraid of a single enemy ship? Jiho wanted to explain about the strange movements, the energy readings, and the possibility that the humans had allies. But he knew Wonho would see it as weakness. No, sir. We will engage as ordered. Good. The Council is watching, Captain. Do not disappoint us. The hologram disappeared. Jiho looked around his bridge. His crew was watching him, waiting for orders. Battle stations, he said quietly. The 12 Council ships moved into attack formation. They had done this thousands of times before. The Eternal Dominion took the center position, with 6 ships on each side. Their weapons powered up and their shields activated. Sir, 36 hours have passed, Mina reported. As if the humans had been counting the exact seconds, the enemy ship appeared again. The sleek black vessel materialized directly in front of the Council fleet, impossibly close. All ships open fire, Jiho commanded. 12 warships fired at once. Energy beams and plasma missiles filled space. It was enough firepower to destroy a small moon. But when the light faded, the human ship was gone. Where did it go? Dae Kim shouted. Sir, it is behind us, Mina called out. The human ship had somehow moved through the Council formation without being detected. It fired once. A strange blue beam struck the destroyer Righteous Fury. The beam did not explode like normal weapons. Instead, a section of the destroyer simply ceased to exist. There was no explosion, no debris. Part of the ship was just gone. What was that? Jiho whispered. The human ship disappeared and reappeared on their left side. It fired again. This time the target was the cruiser Divine Order. Another blue beam. Another section of ship simply deleted from reality. All ships concentrate fire on that vessel, Jiho ordered. The remaining 10 ships turned their weapons on the human ship, but it was like trying to shoot a shadow. The vessel moved in ways that defied physics, sliding between dimensions, appearing and disappearing at will. Inside the human ship, Engineer Kyung Lim monitored the battle from his station. He was young and excited to finally use the technology humanity had spent 2 centuries developing. "Admiral, their weapons cannot track our dimensional shifts," he reported to Admiral Soman Han. "Excellent. How are our own weapons performing?" "The quantum deletion beams are working perfectly. Each shot removes matter at the molecular level. There is no way for them to repair that kind of damage." Admiral Soman nodded. She was a small woman with calm eyes and gray hair. She had been preparing for this day her entire life. "Target their engines next. I want to disable them, not destroy them all. Some of them need to survive to tell their story." The battle continued, but it was not really a battle. It was a demonstration. The human ship moved like a dancer, avoiding every attack while striking with surgical precision. One by one, Council ships lost their engines, weapons, or life support systems. The Righteous Fury was the first to be completely destroyed when its reactor was quantum deleted. The ship broke apart silently, its crew lost to space. "Sir, we have lost 6 ships, Dae Kim reported, his voice shaking. "Our weapons have not hit the target once." Jiho watched another of his ships lose its engines. The cruiser Eternal Victory drifted helplessly as its power systems failed. "Captain," Mina called out, "I am detecting something else. Music." "What?" "The human ship is broadcasting music while it fights. It sounds like classical music from an unknown culture." Jiho listened to his speakers. Beautiful, complex music filled the bridge. It was peaceful and joyful, completely at odds with the destruction happening around them. "They are playing music while they kill us," Dae Kim whispered. The human ship appeared directly in front of the Eternal Dominion. For a moment, the 2 vessels faced each other. Jiho could see lights in the human ship's windows. People were moving around inside, calm and relaxed. Admiral Soman's voice came over the communication system. "Captain Park, you have fought bravely, but this ends now. Power down your weapons and prepare to withdraw. Take your remaining ships and return to your council. Tell them what you have seen here." "We will never surrender," Jiho said. But his voice lacked conviction. "I am not asking you to surrender, Captain. I am giving you the chance to survive. You and your crew are soldiers following orders. The people who gave you those orders are the ones we want to speak with." The human ship moved away. In 7 minutes, 6 council ships had been destroyed and 4 more were badly damaged. Only Jiho's flagship and 1 escort were still fully operational. "Sir," Mina said quietly, "I recommend we withdraw." Jiho looked around his bridge. His crew was afraid, but they were still looking to him for leadership. He thought about Supreme Admiral Wanho and the Council. He thought about the thousands of worlds they had conquered. "All ships retreat to jump distance. We return to base immediately." As the surviving Council ships limped away from the Sol system, the music from the human vessel grew louder. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. "Sir," the communication officer said, "we are receiving one final message from the humans." "Put it through." Admiral Somin's calm voice filled the bridge one last time. "Captain Park, when you return to your council, give them this message. Humanity remembers every world you have destroyed. We remember every species you have enslaved. We remember every life you have taken. The galaxy has been afraid of you for 3,000 years. Now it is your turn to be afraid." The human ship vanished into the dark between stars, leaving only music and the wreckage of what had once been an invincible fleet. The council chamber was silent as Captain Jiho Park finished his report. The massive room held representatives from 50 different worlds, all of them staring at the holographic display showing the wreckage of 6 council warships. Supreme Admiral Wanho Lee sat at the center of the curved table, his face like stone. Around him, the other council members whispered to each other in dozens of languages. Fear was in their voices. "Let me understand this correctly, Captain," said Councillor Hana Seo, the diplomatic representative from the Centauri worlds. "A single enemy vessel destroyed half your fleet in 7 minutes?" "Yes, Counselor. Their technology is unlike anything we have encountered." "Impossible," growled General Tavo from the Military Council. No single ship can defeat 12 of our vessels. Jiho played the battle recordings again. The council members watched the human ship appear and disappear, striking without being hit. They listened to the strange music that had played during the destruction. What did they want? Asked Counselor Hana. They said they wanted to speak with the people who gave the orders. I believe they want to speak with this council. Then we will speak with them, Hana said. Perhaps we can reach an understanding. No. Supreme Admiral Wanho stood up slowly. There will be no negotiation with terrorists. They attacked our ships without provocation. This is an act of war. With respect, Admiral, Hana replied. Our ships entered their territory and demanded their surrender. Who attacked whom? The argument that followed was loud and angry. Some council members wanted to talk with the humans. Others demanded immediate military action. The debate went on for hours. Finally, Wanho raised his hand for silence. The decision is made. I will assemble the Grand Armada, 500 ships from every member world. We will go to this Sol system and end this threat permanently. 3 weeks later, the largest fleet in galactic history gathered at the edge of human space. 500 warships from 50 different worlds floated in formation. At the center was Wanho's flagship, the massive dreadnought Cosmic Order. Counselor Hana had insisted on coming along to attempt diplomatic contact. She stood on the bridge of the Cosmic Order looking at the tactical displays showing their overwhelming force. Admiral, surely this is excessive for dealing with one world. Counselor Captain Park's report was clear. These humans have advanced technology and unknown allies. I will not underestimate them again. The Grand Armada jumped to the Sol system together. When they arrived, they found something that made even Wanho pause. Earth was not defended by one ship anymore. 13 vessels waited for them, spread out across the system. Each ship was different in design, but all of them had the same sleek, deadly appearance as the original human vessel. Admiral, the sensor officer reported, I am detecting energy signatures from multiple extinct civilizations, vegan crystal technology, Rigelian phase systems, Andromedan quantum drives. Sir, I think these ships are built using technology from worlds we have conquered. Wanho stared at the display. How is this possible? On Earth's orbital defense platform, Captain Taewon Jang received the incoming transmission from the Grand Armada. The message was the same as always. Surrender or be destroyed. Put me through to their flagship, Taewon ordered. His image appeared on the bridge of the Cosmic Order. He was a young man with calm eyes and a slight smile. I am Captain Taewon Jang of Earth Defense Command. Admiral Wanho, Counselor Hana, welcome to the Sol system. We have been expecting you. You know who we are? Hana asked, surprised. Of course. We have been watching the galaxy for a long time. We know about every world you have conquered, every species you have enslaved, every civilization you have destroyed. Then you know the power of the Council, Wanho said. Surrender now and your people will be spared. Taewon's smile grew wider. Admiral, I think you misunderstand the situation. We are not here to surrender. We are here to change everything. On a research station hidden in the asteroid belt, Dr. Yuna Park worked frantically at her computers. She was humanity's chief expert on alien archaeology. For decades, she had studied the ruins of dead civilizations, learning their secrets. Taewon, she called through the communication system. The remnant fleet is in position. All survivor groups are ready for your signal. Survivors? Hana asked, having heard the transmission. Yes, Counselor. Did you think you killed everyone? On every world the Council conquered, some people escaped. They have been hiding in the dark spaces between stars, waiting for someone to give them hope. Dr. Yuna continued her explanation over the open channel. We found them, Admiral. The last survivors of the Vegan crystal cities, the final refugees from the Rigelian phase worlds, the scattered children of 100 dead civilizations. They have been living in the shadows, keeping their cultures alive, waiting for revenge. We gave them something better than revenge, Taewon added. We gave them a chance to rebuild. This is impossible, Wanho said. Our records show complete elimination of resistance on all conquered worlds. Your records are incomplete, Admiral. A few always escaped. A ship here, a hidden base there, a group of children sent away before the final battle. They have been watching you, learning from you, preparing for this day. The communication screen split to show Admiral So-min Han aboard the Indomitable. She looked older than when Jiho had first seen her, but her eyes held the same calm confidence. Admiral Wanho, I remember you from the siege of Rigel Prime. You were just a captain then. I was there too, working with the refugee ships that carried survivors to safety. Wanho's face went pale. Rigel Prime was completely destroyed. There were no survivors. You destroyed the cities and the military bases, but 3 ships carrying children and elderly civilians escaped during the chaos. I was on one of those ships. I was 12 years old when I watched you burn my world. That was 40 years ago, Wanho whispered. 40 years of preparing, Admiral. 40 years of gathering the scattered remnants of your victims. 40 years of building ships and weapons using the knowledge you tried to erase. The space around Earth began to shimmer as more ships appeared. Not human ships, but vessels built by dozens of different species. They came out of hiding places in asteroids, gas giants, and quantum pockets. Commander Nari Kim's voice joined the conversation from her position leading the remnant fleet. Admiral Wanho, you are surrounded by the ghosts of every world you have destroyed. We are the children you tried to murder. We are the cultures you tried to erase. We are the species you declared extinct. We remember our parents, she continued. We remember our homes. We remember the songs you silenced and the art you burned. Most importantly, we remember who taught us to fight back. Hana stared at the display showing hundreds of new ships appearing around them. The humans. You taught them how to resist. No, Counselor, Admiral Soman corrected. We taught each other. Humanity had the technology and the anger. The remnant had the knowledge and the experience. Together we built something your council never imagined possible. What is that? Hana asked. Hope, Taewon said simply. For the first time in 3,000 years, the oppressed have a chance to fight back. Wanho activated his fleet communications. All ships, battle stations. We are under attack by a terrorist alliance. Defend yourselves. But as the Grand Armada prepared for battle, many of the ship captains hesitated. They were looking at their sensors, seeing the overwhelming number of enemy vessels appearing around them. Admiral, one captain called over the radio. We are outnumbered 3-1 and still more ships are appearing. Impossible. Our intelligence said they had 1 ship. Your intelligence was wrong, Admiral. Admiral Soman said calmly. We have been planning this for a very long time. Every ship you see here represents a world you destroyed, a people you enslaved, a culture you tried to erase. Today, they all fight together. The battle was about to begin, and for the first time in Council history, they were not sure they would win. The Battle of Sol began at exactly 1432 Earth Standard Time. Admiral Wanho gave the order to attack, and 500 Council ships opened fire at once, space filled with energy beams, plasma missiles, and nuclear torpedoes. The human and remnant ships responded differently than anyone expected. Instead of firing back immediately, they moved. The 13 human ships slid between dimensions like ghosts, appearing and disappearing in patterns that made no sense. The remnant vessels used their own unique technologies. Vegan ships turned into pure energy. Rigelian platforms phased through solid matter. And Andromedan vessels folded space around themselves. Sir, we cannot target them, reported the weapons officer on the cosmic order. Every time we lock on, they vanish. Keep firing, Wanho ordered. Saturate the entire area with weapons fire. Captain Junbei piloted his fighter wing from the Indomitable. He was the best pilot in the human fleet, and today he was leading 300 small fighters against impossible odds. All fighters, remember your training, he called over the radio. We do not fight to destroy them all. We fight to show them they can be defeated. The human fighters moved through the council formations like schools of fish, striking at weapon systems and engines before disappearing again. They worked together with perfect coordination, each pilot knowing exactly where the others would be. Chief Engineer Kyung Lim worked frantically in the Indomitable's engine room. The ship's quantum drive was running at 140% capacity, far beyond safe limits. Admiral, I am not sure how long we can maintain these dimensional shifts, he reported to Admiral Samin on the bridge. How long do we need, Kyung? The ship can handle maybe 2 more hours at this power level. Then we finish this in 2 hours. The battle was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. 500 ships against 13, but the 13 were winning. The Council fleet was designed to fight enemies who used normal technology. They had never faced ships that could phase through solid matter or fighters that moved like living things. Admiral Wanho watched his tactical display as ship after ship reported damage. The enemy was not trying to destroy his entire fleet, which confused him. Instead, they were targeting specific systems, engines, weapons, communication arrays. They are disabling us, not killing us, he muttered to Counselor Hana, who stood behind him watching the battle. Perhaps they want prisoners for questioning, she suggested. No, Wanho realized with growing horror. They want witnesses. They want some of us to survive and tell others what happened here. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Admiral Soman coordinated the most complex naval battle in galactic history. She had screens showing the position of every ship, friendly and enemy. Her voice was calm as she gave orders to 13 different fleets. Nari, take your group and hit their left flank. Taewon, disable the command ship's engines but leave their life support intact. June, I need your fighters to create confusion in their center formation. The coordination was perfect. Ships from dozens of different species worked together as if they shared the same mind. This was something the Council had never learned to do. They conquered individual worlds and forced them to fight separately. The humans had taught their allies to fight as one. Commander Nari Kim led the largest group of remnant ships against the Council's left flank. Her ships were built from salvage technology, but they moved with deadly purpose. All remnant vessels, remember what we fight for, she broadcast. We fight for our children who never saw their homeworlds. We fight for our parents who died defending what they loved. We fight for our cultures that refuse to die. Her ship struck the Council formation like a hammer. Ancient vegan crystal ships fired beams that passed through shields as if they were not there. Rigelian phase platforms appeared inside enemy vessels and tore them apart from within. Andromedan quantum ships deleted entire sections of Council vessels from reality. The battle raged for an hour. The Council fleet began to break apart as individual captains made their own decisions. Some tried to retreat. Others attempted to ram the enemy ships in desperate suicide attacks. A few tried to surrender, but their communications were jammed. Admiral, the tactical officer on the Cosmic Order, reported, "We have lost over half our ships. Should I signal a general retreat?" Wanho looked at his displays. 260 ships destroyed or disabled. The rest scattered across the system. His mighty Grand Armada was broken. "No retreat," he said grimly. "We fight to the end. Sir, with respect, we cannot win this battle. Then we die with honor." But Admiral Soman had other plans. The Indomitable appeared directly in front of the Cosmic Order, so close that the two ships almost touched. "Admiral Wanho," her voice came through the communication system, "you have fought bravely, but this ends now. Your fleet is defeated. Surrender and your people will be treated fairly." "Never," Wanho snarled. "The Council does not surrender to terrorists." "We are not terrorists, Admiral. We are the people you tried to murder coming home." The Cosmic Order fired everything it had at the human ship. Massive energy cannons, plasma mortars, and fusion missiles struck the Indomitable at point-blank range. When the light faded, the human ship was damaged but still operational. "Our turn," Admiral Samin said quietly. The Indomitable fired once. A blue quantum beam struck the Cosmic Order's main engine. The explosion tore through half the ship. Emergency lights flickered as life support systems failed. Wanho found himself lying on the floor of his bridge. Around him, his crew struggled to restore power. Counselor Hana helped him to his feet. "Admiral, we must surrender," she said. "The Council does not surrender." "The Council is finished, Admiral. Look at your screens." Wanho looked at the tactical display. The Grand Armada was gone. Scattered wreckage floated where 500 proud warships had once sailed. Only a few dozen vessels remained intact, and they were surrounded by hundreds of enemy ships. "All Council vessels," Admiral Soman's voice filled the communication channels. "This is Admiral Soman Han of the United Human Space Service. You are surrounded and outnumbered. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Any ship that continues to fight will be destroyed." One by one, the surviving Council ships powered down their weapons. The captains who had spent their careers forcing others to surrender now faced the same choice their victims had faced. Captain Jiho Park, whose ship had survived the initial battle at Sol, transmitted from his damaged vessel. "Admiral Han, I'm prepared to surrender my ship and crew." "Thank you, Captain. You showed wisdom before and you show it now. What happens to us now? You will be taken to secure facilities where you will be treated according to the rules of war. Some of you will be charged with war crimes. Others will be offered the chance to help build a better galaxy. And the Council? The Council is dissolved as of today. The galactic hegemony is ended. What comes next will be decided by all the free peoples of the galaxy, working together. In the wreckage of his flagship, Admiral Wanho listened to these words and finally understood what had happened. This was not just a military defeat. This was the end of an empire that had ruled for 3,000 years. "What have we done?" he whispered to Hana. "What have we awakened?" "Justice," she replied softly. "We awakened justice. The battle was over." For the first time in galactic history, the oppressed had defeated their oppressors. The survivors of 100 dead worlds had returned to reclaim the galaxy in the name of freedom. As rescue ships moved through the wreckage, Admiral Somin stood on the bridge of the Indomitable and looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, billions of enslaved people were about to learn that they were free. The galaxy had changed forever, and there was no going back. 6 months after the Battle of Sol, Admiral Somin Han stood in the former council chamber on the capital world of Centauri Prime. The massive curved table that had once held the representatives of 50 slave worlds now hosted delegates from the Free Species Alliance. Everything had changed. The symbols of the Galactic Council had been removed from the walls. In their place hung the flags and emblems of worlds that had been free for less than a year. Some of these civilizations were rebuilding after centuries of oppression. Others were discovering what freedom meant for the first time. "The motion passes," announced Councillor Hana Seo, who now served as the provisional chairman of the Alliance. "The Rigel system will receive full reconstruction aid. Earth will provide the quantum technology, the vegan survivors will supply crystal engineering, and the Andromedan refugees will handle space-time mechanics." Somin smiled as she watched the vote. This was how decisions should be made. By cooperation, not conquest. Each species contributed what they did best, and everyone benefited. After the session ended, Hana approached Somin in the corridor outside the chamber. "Admiral, I wanted to thank you again. Without humanity's intervention, this alliance would never have existed." "Counselor, humanity did not create this alliance. We simply gave people the chance to create it themselves. That may be true, but the galaxy owes you a great debt." "The galaxy owes us nothing. We did what was right." 3 star systems away, Captain Taewon Jang commanded the exploration ship New Dawn as it approached a previously unknown solar system. His mission was different from the old Council expeditions. Instead of conquest, he offered protection. "Sir, we are detecting radio signals from the 4th planet," reported his communications officer. "They appear to be early-stage broadcasts, music, entertainment, some news programs." "How long have they had radio technology?" "Based on the signal patterns, maybe 50 years. They are nowhere near space travel yet." Taewon nodded. "Standard first contact protocol. We observe from a distance. No interference unless they request help or face external threats." This was the new way. Humanity had learned from the Council's mistakes. Instead of forcing themselves on developing worlds, they watched and protected from afar. When these people eventually reached the stars, they would find friends waiting for them, not conquerors. On Earth, Dr. Una Park worked in her laboratory with scientists from 12 different species. Together, they were rebuilding the lost knowledge of destroyed civilizations, ancient vegan poetry, Rigelian mathematics, Andromedan music that had been thought lost forever. Dr. Park called her assistant, a young Rigelian named Zephyr whose grandparents had escaped the destruction of his homeworld. "I have finished translating the vegan historical archives. What did you find?" "Their records go back over 10,000 years. They had contact with species we thought were myths. There are references to civilizations that existed before the Council, before the hegemony. The galaxy was very different once. Better or worse? Different, more chaotic, but also more free. There were wars, but there were also alliances and trade agreements and cultural exchanges. Species worked together because they chose to, not because they were forced to." Una smiled. "Then we are not building something new. We are rebuilding something old." In a prison facility on a remote moon, former Supreme Admiral Wanho Lee sat in his cell reading reports about the new galaxy. The guards allowed him access to news broadcasts so he could understand what his empire had become. The reports told of worlds learning to govern themselves, of species rediscovering their own cultures after centuries of suppression, of children learning their native languages for the first time, of art and music and literature flowering again on planets where creativity had been banned. Some days Wanho felt angry about his defeat, but increasingly he felt something else. Shame. He had spent his life destroying beauty and calling it order. He had murdered billions and called it peace. A guard approached his cell. "Admiral, you have a visitor." Wanho was surprised to see Captain Jiho Park walk into the visiting room. Jiho had accepted the Alliance's offer to serve in their new defense forces. He wore the uniform of the Free Species Navy now. "Hello, sir." "Captain, you look well." "I am well. I have been assigned to the Frontier Protection Service. We guard the border regions against pirates and raiders." "And you enjoy this work?" Jiho considered the question. "It feels good to protect people instead of conquering them. I sleep better now." They sat in silence for a while. Finally, Wanho spoke. "Jiho, do you think I was evil?" "No, sir. I think you were a good soldier serving an evil system." "There is a difference." "Is there?" "I gave the orders. I destroyed the worlds. And I carried out those orders. We were both trapped in something bigger than ourselves. The question now is what we do with the knowledge of what we were part of." "What do you suggest?" "Help them, sir. You know more about the Council's military structure than almost anyone. There are still pirates using old Council ships. There are warlords trying to rebuild the hegemony in remote systems. Your knowledge could help the Alliance stop them." Wanho was quiet for a long time. "Would they trust me?" "Admiral Soman believes in redemption. She thinks people can change. So do I." On the bridge of the Indomitable, Admiral Soman received reports from across the galaxy. Most of the news was good. Former slave worlds were rebuilding. New alliances were forming. Trade routes that had been closed for centuries were opening again. But there were problems too. Some worlds had been slaves for so long they did not know how to be free. They begged the Alliance to rule them, to tell them what to do. Other planets had fallen into civil war as different groups fought for power. "Admiral," her communication officer reported, "we are receiving a priority message from the Deep Space Monitoring Station." "Put it through." The hologram that appeared showed Commander Nari Kim, who now led the Alliance's Deep Space Reconnaissance Forces. "Soman, we have a problem. Long-range sensors have detected something moving in from the galactic core. It appears to be artificial." "A ship?" "Many ships, possibly thousands, and they are not using any technology we recognize." Soman felt a familiar chill. "How long until they reach inhabited space?" "At their current speed, maybe 6 months. Any attempt at communication?" "We have tried every known language and mathematical sequence. No response." "But Somin, there is something else. We analyzed their energy signatures. These ships are not from any known species. They are old, very old." Soman understood. Just when the galaxy was learning to be free, a new threat was approaching. Something ancient and unknown was coming from the dark spaces between the stars. "Nari, return to base immediately. Alert all Alliance defense forces. Begin evacuating civilian populations from the outer rim systems." "Understood. What do you think they want?" "I do not know. But whatever they want, they will find the galaxy very different from what they expect." Soman ended the transmission and looked out at the stars. 6 months ago, those stars had been ruled by fear. Now they belonged to free people who had learned to work together. "Admiral," her tactical officer asked, "should we begin preparing?" "For war?" "Yes, but not the kind of war the Council would have fought. Send messages to every world in the Alliance. Tell them about the approaching threat. Ask for volunteers, not conscripts. Ask for cooperation, not submission." "Ma'am, what if these newcomers are peaceful?" "Then we will welcome them as friends. But if they come as conquerors, they will learn what the Council learned. This galaxy belongs to its people now. Anyone who tries to take that freedom away will face not one species, but all of them together." As the Indomitable turned toward the galactic core, Soman smiled. The Galactic Council had ruled through fear and oppression. The Free Species Alliance would defend itself through unity and hope. Whatever was coming from the ancient dark, it would find that the galaxy was no longer afraid. The people of 1,000 worlds had learned that when they stood together, they were stronger than any empire. The stars themselves seemed brighter now that they shone on free worlds. And if darkness came again, the light of freedom would meet it head-on. The galaxy had changed forever. There was no going back to the old ways of fear and slavery. Whatever came next, the people would face it together as equals, as allies, as friends. The age of empires was over. The age of freedom had begun,